Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. We're the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hudson with you. We're joined in the 42 Degrees The Source hotline by Bomani Jones. The Right Time with Bomani Jones, the podcast. He joins us now on the phone. Bomani, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, man. How about you?
Pretty good. I'm sure you're wondering why you're coming on Sports Talk Radio in Omaha. It's very simple. It's because number one, I think we're fans of yours, and number two, we just wanted to chop it up a little bit and talk about the Super Bowl, which you had a very interesting lead up and a nice lead into the Super Bowl during the AFC Championship game, watching the football game with a psychopath and Nick Wright.
I would first like to note that I'm not, y'all speak English in Omaha, so I'm not terribly surprised that you have me on your radio station. We got the baseline covered. But yes, being there with a crazy person was quite I imagine, I hadn't really given this a lot of thought, but I imagine that territory you're in is kind of split between Chiefs and Bears fans.
It's mostly Chiefs.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if any of you guys are as crazy about this as Nick is, but Nick is whew, that was an experience, Jack.
So it's a real life thing. We've talked about it the entire actually it's been throughout really the Mahomes run as they've gotten more confident and more cocky. You mentioned it, we're inside of it here, and if you're not a Chiefs fan around here, which some aren't, it's really difficult to get away from. Chiefs fans in general, I can't even begin to imagine sort of my confidence level if I had Patrick Mahomes as my quarterback as a fan. And I know that I have him right now and I'm never going to be out of any game, and that it's going to be like this for at least the next 12 to 15 years of everybody's lives.
So I wonder how this goes though for the Chiefs fan. And I ask this because when they played the Super Bowl after the 2020 season, I was just I'm picking the Chiefs, and I'm not picking against Patrick Mahomes. And then the game started, and they started putting the starters up on the screen, and I saw that Mike Rivers was playing left tackle, and I immediately knew I had made a terrible mistake. And what happened after that was so wild is, and I don't care what anybody says, I don't think I've ever seen anything more impressive than Mahomes in that game. I just couldn't believe it. It was losing no matter what the stats were. I just watched him do things I didn't think were possible. But I did learn that you can lose with him. That was the moment that humbled me. I was like, dang, I guess I need to start paying a little more attention before I make these picks. But you couldn't have told me coming into that game that you could ever lose with having that guy. That being said, I don't think they're going to lose this game this time because I don't think you can lose having that guy.
I'm with you. I'm leaning toward the Chiefs as well. I was sort of looking up last night he's getting to the point now, although it's still very early in his career, where you could kind of start to match him up and look at playoff success and things like that. And the quarterbacks that he's taken down in the playoffs, there's been, there is your Jimmy Garoppolo, there is your corpse of Ben Roethlisberger, there is Ryan Tannehill in there, but it's also Andrew Luck and Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen a whole bunch of times, and Lamar Jackson. And then I tried to match it up, Bomani, with what Brady had done in his career. And not that, he didn't take down big time quarterbacks, but he had documented struggles against Peyton Manning during his playoff run. We're actually getting to the point now this early where we could start to match up things like that. And it's kind of crazy to me.
Well, the weird thing about the Brady career that nobody really talks about because you don't think about it because it started, and once it started, we didn't bother to follow up, is that by the time it was over, Peyton Manning's teams had a winning record over Tom Brady's teams in head-to-head matchups.
Yep.
It didn't start that way, but it ended that way because Tom Brady has this weird quirk of his career, and who knows, maybe this will happen to Patrick Mahomes, but to me, the best period of Brady's career, performance-wise, is that middle part, kind of 2005, 2011, or 12 or so. And that's the stretch when Tom Brady didn't win any Super Bowls. That's why the straight line, your quarterback wins you the Super Bowl gets weird because the best of Tom Brady, I would argue, did not win Super Bowls for a whole host of reasons when it came down to it. But for me, this ain't about stacking a resume. So Brady has so many Super Bowl wins that it's just there, right? It's you can't make an argument. It's very difficult at the very least to make an argument against them because with the absolute pride he's got it. However, I got eyeballs, man. And the way that I make this comparison is you can tell me that Tiger Woods did not get to 18 majors like Jack Nicklaus did, but that ain't really got nothing to do with what I saw. Right? Like that's not.
Yep.
I'm at a point with Mahomes where I'm not trying to make a case here. I'm just asking people to stop being stupid and look up and see what you see.
And it's crazy. Well, is it crazy to like make those sort of declarations this early in his career? I mean, after a couple more years, we're going to be looking up and saying it's not early anymore. But it sounds crazy to compare the two against each other. But like you just said, we have eyes. We can see what's going on. This guy undoubtedly propels his team to a completely different level.
It only sounds crazy if you're trying to write a thesis.
Right.
Right? Like, it sounds crazy if you're like, wow, I have to go write a 5-paragraph essay to justify my position on this. Yeah, it's going to be a little tricky for you to pull off. If you just look at it and see what it's been, or consider the fact that he's been to 4 Super Bowls in 6 years as a starter, that the only 2 losses that he's had short of the Super Bowl in the playoffs came in overtime, and the 1 Super Bowl loss was literally in the other team's home stadium, and Mike Remmers was your left tackle. Like, I mean, it's right there. Now, we're going to see what happens down the line. We're going to see, where this all picks up, and we'll see what ends if you're just trying to, like, stack these things up or add it up in order to make the case. I personally don't feel the need to justify my opinion to other people like that. I see what I see here. Show me the flaw. I personally have never seen anything like this before.
Why have you decided to curse the Detroit Lions even further than they're already cursed? I'm confused by this.
How did I curse the Detroit Lions?
That's what people are saying. That's what people are saying. They're like, why did you join the fan base?
That's what they're saying, and all I'm saying is they ain't never been as good as they had been since I showed up. How about that? I decided, because I grew up rooting for the Falcons, but then when the quarterback went to jail for fighting dogs, I decided that was a foolhardy mission. But I reached a point where I realized, man, like, I've been doing this job for long enough, and it's real easy for you to get kind of detached from things, and I wanted the good feelings that people get to have when they root for a sports team, but it's too easy to be like, I root for the Chiefs now. That's not going to work. I like Dan Campbell's get down. There's a lot of things about the way they're running that team that I like, and I like the way that they play. So I decided I'm getting on board with that. But yeah, I had somebody try to tell me that because I used to root for the Falcons that I cursed the Lions with my energy. And I'm like, how the hell am I going to curse the Lions?
They're already pretty well cursed. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you mean we're cursing the Lions? You need to be worried. I think those people need to be far more worried about what the hell the Lions going to do to me.
Speaking, I mean, you said you were on board with the Dan Campbell train. Did that, where'd that train end up on Sunday?
Oh, no. I mean, here's why I don't have a problem with what he did in terms of going for those 4th downs. Because once you start living like that, you can't stop. And if this is the way that you've kicked it the whole time, and then all of a sudden at the end, you say, yo, we got to go get the field goal here. You are basically telling your team, the team that you've been telling all year long, this belief that you have in them, that you're going to go for all of these because you believe in them, you're sitting up and telling them that you don't. And you can't ever do that once you make the decision that you're going to kick it the way that he kicked it. And look, that one play, the dude dropped the ball. They had it. He just dropped the ball. After that one, I would have gone for it too. Like, I'm not putting that game in the hands of a kicker, the Lions fans, or the hands, I guess that's ironic, but the hands of a kicker that Lions fans don't even necessarily feel that good about. He's got a way that he gets down. It worked up until a point, and that game it didn't. Oh, well. But when I saw Jared Goff, they asked him about going for 4th down, he just looked at the camera and said, love it. Love it. We just got to get it done. I never had another question about what that man did.
Hey, on the other side, on the 49ers side, have you how far have you dove into the Brock Purdy take market that's out there right now? It feels like everybody has to have a very, very succinct, like 1 minute, he's good, he's bad thing on him. What do you think?
I think that at this point, and I think that with young quarterbacks, we would probably do ourselves well to look at it like this. You just got to take it day by day, right? I don't need to have a referendum right now about how good Brock Purdy will be down the line. I think Jalen Hurts last year is a very good example. Jalen Hurts got it done in that Super Bowl. I wasn't sure that he could do it. In fact, I mean, I couldn't say I was not in a position to say that he couldn't, but I wasn't sure that he could. And then he went out there and he got it done. It doesn't matter what he did this year in terms of what the discussion was on that day. On that day, he got it done. Brock Purdy got it done on the day that he needed to get it done last week. And what he demonstrated, if nothing else, is he ain't show you whether he's going to get it done every time he's in one of those situations, but it shows you that he can. There's some people that we've seen at points where you know that they can't. We know that this dude can do it. He has limitations, certainly. He can get wobbly. He looks scared in that first half, but he can also pull it together. And so with the sample size being as small as it is with a dude like this, we don't have to be like, oh, he's a franchise quarterback. Oh, he's an MVP. None of that matters. Are the 49ers capable of winning a Super Bowl with him? Yes. Is it also possible that he could be the reason that they don't win a Super Bowl? Yes. But the fact that they can win one with him, this league is full of dudes that you cannot say that about, and you can say it about him.
Hey, are you going to Super Bowl week in Vegas for any portion of it?
Yeah, I'm going for the week of the Super Bowl. I will certainly be out of there before the game itself.
So what are you expecting in terms of that entire thing in Vegas, whether it's media and play? I know they got the players staying 25 miles away, probably a smart call by Roger Goodell there. What are you expecting as far as the show of the week at the biggest event in sports in Vegas, of all places?
I thought it was going to be a lot more fun if Detroit was going to be showing up, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Honestly, it was going to be a little more fun if Baltimore showed up also. Don't get me wrong. These hardy Midwestern values coming down. I'm not saying it's a bad thing necessarily, but it was going to be much more interesting, clothing-wise, if we had got these other teams to come down. But, the thing about Vegas is, and this will be interesting to see, it doesn't matter what's going on in Vegas. It doesn't feel like it, right? It always just feels like Las Vegas. So when you go for Summer League, for example, it feels like Summer League because there's a lot more 6'10" people walking around. But what I want to see out of this is the people who just decide they're going to come because this is just what they're going to do. It's going to be a lot. I will definitely agree on that part.
Bomani, you're kind of a music aficionado. I want to get your opinion on Usher at the halftime show.
Yes.
Is there a play he can run to make us forget that Taylor Swift is in the building?
Oh, yeah. He's got to do his songs. I think Usher is one of those people that is kind of easy to forget how famous he was at his peak and how many hits he had. I went to a Janet Jackson concert a few years ago, and I'm not saying he's Janet Jackson, but I'm not the biggest Janet Jackson fan in the world. The next thing I knew, the songs were playing, and I knew them all, right? He's going to be in that place. What's going to be interesting, though, is this is kind of an adaptation to that Vegas show he does. And, are they going to let him have strippers on roller skates at the Super Bowl? Is there any way he's going to be able to sneak that in? Because if he is, baby, I'm down. I found the show otherwise to be in the good, not great range. But if he's going to have strippers on roller skates, baby, hey, man, it's a new day.
Yeah, it has an opportunity to be really good. I say we just throw it back we're already trending this way. We're already going back to the time in our country when Usher was really, really big. We're going back to the mid 2000s anyway. Let's just do the whole thing. I say, why not? And the Super Bowl's in Vegas would be the perfect place for it.
There you go. You got the right idea.
I'm down for it. Bomani Jones, the podcast, The Right Time with Bomani Jones, releases Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Bomani, thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate it. Have fun in Vegas and look forward to whatever's coming next.
No problem, man. You guys have a good one.
All right, there he goes. That's Bomani Jones, who clearly does this for a living,
Yeah. We
couldn't
rattle him.
Takes. I love it.